Good evening, Dr. Darshi Thoradeniya. Thank you so much for coming at a very short notice for this special kind of a quick program on my series, Alternative Spaces for Education, because I wanted to draw people's attention to the exhibition or the mobile museum, which is being held right now at Colombo University. For one thing, I think it's an excellent idea that we have an alternative space for education through museums, and mobile exhibitions, which I kind of find fascinating in a context where education is normally restricted to book learning. And I see this going on at Colombo University. So I'm having this hurriedly put together program like on Saturday to ask you what it is and to give people a chance. There are 3 more days for the exhibition to be held, to give people a chance to actually go and see what we are going to be discussing today, right? So Dr. Thoradeniya, you are a senior lecturer in the history department at Colombo University.
That's right. Thank you.
Right. And it's the history department that actually took the step of having this exhibition for the public, and it's free for the public, right?
That is right. It is free for the public. With history department took the initiative. Mainly, it was the chair professor Nirmal Pranjit Devasiri's idea, which was taken up by GIZ, the Colombo office.
Yeah. Lovely. What exactly is a mobile museum and a mobile exhibition, Darshi? Is it the same thing, or is it two different things being held in the same place? What exactly is being exhibited there?
Right. Thank you, Madhubashini, for inviting me for this. And yes, it is two different things at the same premises. So mobile exhibition and mobile museum are like parked there. It's exhibition on wheel, right? So it's parked there at the Arts Faculty, University of Colombo. When you come through the Reed Avenue, you just have to come through the gate, and no tickets are being issued. You just walk in, and there you go. You see the exhibition, right?
When you say mobile, it's a container. It's a lorry, actually, is it?
Yeah, it's a container. And convert. I mean, it's a AC container. Quite kind of comfortably, you can go through the slides, the panels, and we take care of COVID situation, and we put only 15 people at once, so we don't put more than that. So once they go out, only the next batch can go in. So we have organized in such a manner, and also all the health regulations are being adhered to. So mobile museum and exhibition, as Sulakshana will also explain it to you in your next, when you're interviewing her. So it's about mobile museum had been happening from 2018, and mobile exhibition about history happened like here, right now. So it started on the 17th of February, and it will go till 22nd of February, next Tuesday. So it is happening.
Yes,
now.
Just to explain, I have planned 3 programs under the subheading Mobile Museums and Exhibitions, under the topic Alternative Spaces of Education, because I actually noticed 3 things happening, simultaneously during this time. One is the Historical Dialogue Museum that Sulakshana and them are doing, and Sulakshana will come and speak about that. One is the Modern Art Museum that was very recently opened. So I find it fascinating that museums, which we normally consider to be like pretty static, being brought to the public, public engagement. And I think it's a wonderful way of having an alternative space of education, because museums are education, right? And the fact that Colombo University is actually holding one right now was quite an interesting thing to see. Darshi, what is the difference between a mobile museum and a mobile exhibition?
When you say mobile museum and mobile, I mean both hold exhibits. So both are exhibitions in many different ways. But museum is very much about an object being spoken of, or the object being able to tap into humans' memory to take you back to a particular time. That is what a museum does. right? Very, very briefly speaking. And mobile exhibition our mobile exhibition is about history. So history is not something that you can, it's not tangible. It is something that has happened in the past. So past and history are two different words and terms, of course. And so the past is being recorded or being spoken or wrote about. Writing that process is something to do with history, right? So then we tap into different sources in order to discover or uncover the past. So in the exhibition, we have what we have done is that using different sources and interpreting different sources in not the hegemonic way, in a different way, in an alternative way, actually. We or tapping into different sources, and we have the exhibition has given that edge to history. So history is not about the meta narrative, but doing doing different kinds of histories. We are not talking about the history, but a history. So
Okay, right. So if I'm to clarify this further, the
right,
museum would be more static, like
absolutely,
stable and more fixed, in
that's
which not much relativity is possible.
yeah,
But what you're saying, the exhibition is more fluid, where you
yeah,
actually talk about interpretations also possible, right?
absolutely,
And relative. So
yeah,
this leads us into the subjectivity of history itself.
absolutely. Yeah,
Right.
before we go into the subjectivity, shall we talk about, since I'm a historian, I'm not a museologist, but however, yeah, museology is a different field of inquiry. So I would like to emphasize the fact that time and space are two things or two concepts that are dealt with or engaged with by both historians as well as museologists. So we both talk about it, or we both grapple with the two concepts, but in very different ways. So as you correctly said, Madhu, exhibition in a space of in a space of a museum, where you try to hold the time and space in one static way, right? Whereas in a history exhibition, we in this particular mobile history exhibition, we are trying to show how time and space can be interpreted in different ways. So when I say space, it's about maps, it's about the demographic map as well as the soil map of the country, right? So how people, because these two maps go hand in hand, or uh, two sides of the same coin, because people opt to live in a particular geographical area because of a particular soil, because we were an agricultural country. I mean, that is how it is all over the world, not only us, right? So that these two maps fall into place, fall into, like, or talk to each other, right? And at the same time, history can be spoken of or interpreted through paintings. Paintings can give you different show different dimensions into history. So
When you
that
say paintings, Darshi, is it like a particular temple painting or
temple painting,
artistic
no,
paintings?
temple paintings. Actually, we
Temple
have
paintings.
captured
Okay.
paintings, and
Okay.
there are 20 panels in the history exhibition where you have maps as well as paintings, and the text is below that, and differently, yeah, placed.
I'm curious, what language are now you're saying the exhibition has panels, right?
Absolutely, yeah,
Right. And the museum has solid objects?
yes.
Okay. So that is more in keeping with my idea of what a museum is.
Using
But
yeah,
the panel has a text and
yeah,
paintings and photographs?
that's right.
Right.
Paintings, photographs, maps in panels, and panels has a text as well in
In which
only one
language,
language.
Darshi?
It is, as of now, it is in Sinhala.
Hmm.
So we understand the fact that it has to be translated into Tamil as well as English. Um, Different time constraints made us do it only in Sinhala for the time being. And we are receiving lots of comments, different kinds of very interesting comments. So we are, through social media as well as there at the exhibition itself. So we are having a discussion even now or at this particular moment even, right? Over because okay, I'm on a field visit as you yeah, so at the moment. So then we are collecting those in order to kind of revise it and then come into a Tamil and English version. So we will revise the existing exhibition, the text in the exhibition, and maybe we might add more maps and paintings, I don't know. And we want to translate it to Sinhala and into Tamil and English.
Right.
Whereas in the yeah,
Darshi, so the museum was already established by historical dialogue and it has already gone around the country, right? And the exhibition part of this mobile presentation, that is the history department's work.
That's right.
Who actually put it together, Darshi? Were the students and the lecturers working together? How did it come about?
It was mainly Professor Nirmal Ranjit Devasi's idea, and he did most of the work, and the Department of Geography at the Colombo University helped with maps a lot, and also Department of Demography with the maps, and also history department staff got involved in, like, reading it and commenting, and so that we were all part of it. But it was, I must say, I must give the credit to Professor Nirmal, because he did a lot of work, lot of labor was put into to get the exhibition together.
And what is the participation of students? How do they get involved, Darshi? Because I'm fascinated by the fact that something other than book learning and memorization is being done in a university. Do the students have a part to play in this?
Yes, absolutely. Because now we have student volunteers. So from first year to fourth year, we have volunteers working with us throughout, and also even before that, right? So they are the ones who explain the exhibition to the people who come to see the exhibition. So within that particular context of explaining, of course, they learn a lot. I mean, we trained them to explain it, because this is a different interpretation that we are bringing in. We are throwing out to the public to see, look, history can be written in so many different ways, because this is, again, it's a scientific way of, it is, we have engaged in a scientific way of writing history, right? So, but still it is a different interpretation. So we spoke about it with students, and students are trained on that, and then they are placed there as volunteers. So I see like 3 levels of learning process happening. So when the people come to watch it or see the exhibition, they explain and they get into a conversation or a dialogue with the participants of the exhibition, and then the student volunteers talk to us to clarify things and question things. So then in return, we also have a different kind of a perspective, dialogue, and an engagement with what is already had been done. So 3 level. That is why I said participants or the public gets some kind of an knowledge about the history of 13th century to modern Sri Lanka, and the students as well as us. So it is a process, and also there is a huge lot of I must say, reflection going on in the process, because students reflect a lot, and so do we. We reflect a lot on what through those comments through the comments that we receive. So I think
it's not even knowledge as fixed, no? Knowledge as being questioned, challenged, and thereby that's quite fascinating to see it actually happening in real time. What is the profile of the person who comes to see this? Darshi, are people from all over the country coming, or is it generally people around Colombo? Have you any idea? I mean, I don't think there's much time to analyze it, but would you have a rough idea of who is actually coming to see this?
Yes, actually, we formally invited schools, a lot of schools around Colombo, but we know that A-level exams are going on, so schools are not functioning fully, but still we have students coming from schools. And also we have simultaneously with the exhibition, we are conducting our field visit or the field excursion with Eastern University History Department. So there are 40 students who had come down from Eastern University to Colombo University. They came yesterday, and we had a session today during the day. and tomorrow we are doing another field visit to it's something else. So, however, this has been going on with history department for a very long time. Colombo History Department getting in touch, working with the Eastern University History Department as well as Jaffna. So on the very first day, Jaffna Peace Museum students came to have a look, and they had a lovely engagement with our students on history. So likewise, we have invited, and they have already come despite Corona, and it's fascinating to see that, hustle bustle in the university. That is what all the academics, I mean, lots of academics came with their, our staff came with their families, and especially with their children, to show the exhibition, because this is something that we haven't done for quite a long time. Corona, of course, ate 2 of our years, right?
Yes.
Already, and we are still online. But then this is a very, I think, it's an opportune moment, and a very lovely opportunity for us to kind of get into a dialogue, the whole university, that life that we had when we were undergrads. So we are bringing that back. That is what most of the lecturers who came to see it told us how lovely it is to bring that culture back, to university.
And what are the future hopes, Darshi? Are you hoping to take it around, or like, is it going to be an annual event? What are your plans for it?
It will be going around the country, just like the mobile museum, because mobile museum was set up in 2018, and it is pretty much in order, I must say, because it is in 3 languages. We have panels as well as the object placed there. So it is very much in place. So we are hoping to develop our exhibition also like that and go around the country. So that is the plan. So when going around the country, as I said, when they go to eastern part of the country, we want to get in touch with the Eastern University History Department students, so that our students and them again getting an engagement there in order to explain the exhibition.
It's fascinating to see students working across not just ethnic communities, but inter-university.
University.
Because there's so much, there was so much dynamism and youth and willingness to learn among this student community. And it's really heartening to see that links have been made. And will the students also be going with the mobile?
That is the plan, Madhu, yes.
So
With
that's
exhibition for the students to go as well. And they're very much willing to go as well, despite Corona. They're young, right? So that's the age to explore.
As an English teacher, I really hope you get at least the English translation done very quickly, because I was just thinking, if the students also got a chance to explain this in English, so when there's a function to do, they don't worry too much about the language. They would try to say it anyway. So are there hopes of
that, Madhu, of course, I saw with the Eastern University students, because they don't know Sinhala and we don't know Tamil. So it's link language is only English. So they have to somehow ask questions and somehow answer, which is great.
And did you see this, like Colombo campus students talking to them in English? Did they manage?
As a mode of communication, they did absolutely well. Yeah,
that's actually all that's needed, no? So you can
that's right.
communicate communication
English or not, grammatically correct English or not, it doesn't matter as long as you communicate, right?
Yes, and that happened.
Yes, that happened.
Right. So what are your plans? Is it going to be an annual thing? Will you keep adding, or is it going to change? What do you have a rough idea of how it will?
Yes, we will definitely revise. Even tonight when we were having dinner, that is what Professor Nirmal said. So let's revise it like from the comments and then translate. So that is definitely that idea we already have. Apart from that, about traveling, as you know, universities don't have much funds for such an exercise, right? It's running that has a lot of logistics have to be arranged, and the container is very expensive, a mobile container like this. So we will have to have funds to do it. So I hope GIZ, the History Dialogue program, will have funds for that. If not, we will definitely look for funds, Madhu. We are not one bit hesitant about looking for funds.
Right. What is the content, like from what era to what era are you dealing with, Darshi, in this exhibition?
Yeah, it is from 13th century to modern, up until we got independence in 1948.
Why 13th century? Why did you pick that as a breakaway point?
That is because the Anuradhapura Polonnaruwa or the Rajarat civilization, kind of dismantled, and then it's the drift to the west kind of situation. And what this is Nirmal's idea. I'm just saying what he thinks, right?
Nirmal is going to come and speak about his journey of learning English. So I didn't
great.
Having someone else to explain this seems much more sensible.
Right. So it is about his idea is that in order to understand today's issues, modern Sri Lanka issues, we have to trace it back, or we have to trace back into a particular point. But that particular point, Nirmal thinks, is not Anuradhapura Rajadhaniya or kingdom or the Polonnaruwa kingdom. It is where it is the 13th century. In 1215 only the dismantling happened. So after that, the drift to the west, southwest, is the point, according to Nirmal, where we call modern Lanka happened. So he connects it with the Indian Ocean activities during the 13th century onwards, and how we see Indian Ocean became during that time in terms of trade, and also in terms of different explorations. And then because that definitely affected our history and our as an island placed in the Indian Ocean and just below the Indian subcontinent, we faced that we had certain effects, and that is what he's really trying to show.
Okay, so one thing that is clear is it's an interpretation, just like all of history is, and which we somehow tend to forget, because one thing that happens is when we write things down, all of us tend to consider that as like written in stone, and we very often forget that most of it is interpretation. And I think you said in the Sinhala one, even the historian picks what to use as a source material, and that's a political decision. So the opening up that space into the fluxity of knowledge, the fluidity of what everything is, I think is a very important thing that history or any subject can the need not to revere some things as being set in stone, that is just an interpretation.
And also we shouldn't forget the fact that one particular source, why the author created it, for what purpose, to whom, those are the questions that we completely ignore. I mean, say for example, we take Mahavansa as Mahavansha as the main historical source, but who wrote it and for why, and why, and those questions are not being kind of I mean,
because there were a lot of other political reasons for that. Right? And museums, I'm fascinated by the fact that when you say museum, Darshi, in my head I think of something a bit dead, like a bit beyond that, something that doesn't move, with no disrespect to the National Museum or anything. But this mobile museum, mobile exhibition, did we have such a culture, or is it quite new to Sri Lanka? Would you know?
Yeah, to Sri Lanka, it is quite new, but of course, all over the world, there were mobile museums before us. But this is actually, this particular mobile museum, in disciplinary wise, it has a lot to do with anthropology. So it is about tapping into people's memory and what you remember. Again, memory or remembering is something, it's a pick and choose thing, right? You remember things and you forget a lot of things, a lot of other things. So that is, people remember things for a reason, through an object. That is how it has been developed. So it was to mark the 70th anniversary of independence in 2018 that mobile museum was set up, actually.
Okay, so just to tell everyone that if you wish to see this in action, and everything you said is explained there, Darshi, that people actually tell the story while they read it as well? Okay, so just to say that this is, you can actually see this exhibition and the museum, and at the moment it's parked or it's established at Colombo University. So if you're around Colombo, anyone can just walk in and see. It's the main entrance. Is it, Darshi?
That's right. Reed Avenue main entrance. Yeah.
Main entrance. And then you can see, what she talks about and find out, the fluxity of knowledge, the fact that it's alive. History is not something dead. History is always something, you create from the position you're standing. So in fact, most knowledge is like that, and we forget because we have such a respect for the written word and we don't consider the live aspect of it. So that's why I was fascinated to see, Darshi, that Colombo University History Department is actually making it alive, live again, and talking about interpretation.
Department. Yeah, right.
Yes, that, it's current in a way. Sure. And second reason I'm fascinated is you're bringing knowledge out of a traditional space into the public space, which I think really needs to be done, because sometimes knowledge is within campus limits. And, most of our young people are extremely intelligent, but very few can get into campus because of the lack of resources. So whatever chance you have to bring something out, right? We should take it. And that's why I'm very grateful within my channel, because YouTube is open to anyone if they can afford an internet thing. So when people like you come and talk, even in a very little way, some discussions get to the public space. So, and it's not whether you agree or not, it's to be aware that such discussions happen.
Yeah, and it's a dialogue, no, that we create.
Dialogue.
Yeah.
And if all of us agree on things,
no diversity, right?
Yeah, that's not education. Education is the ability, or an educated person, as far as I can give a definition, is a person who can handle differing opinions without trying to push your opinion down somebody's throat or saying you're wrong and I'm right.
Right.
It's that openness which we should all look for. So anyone who can take knowledge out, which your mobile exhibition is doing, is something I really greatly appreciate. So thank you for coming to talk about it. And I'm grateful that there are still 3 more days. Should you go to Vichy, just walk into Colombo campus, and all the precautions of the pandemic are put in place, right, Darshi?
Yes, only 15 can go into the container. So we really monitor that and take care. Right. Everybody has to wear the mask. Yes.
Right. So it's good to know that, as you say, we had 2 dead years of nothing happening and all of us struggling on, you were online. I was luckily doing my PhD. By the way, you called me Dr. Madhubashin. Results still haven't come. I'm just hoping I got through. But online teaching threw us all into a quandary when you had to figure out what to do.
What to do,
right?
yes. How to do, what to do, yes.
What to do. And you guys coming up with this is quite impressive, that you brought knowledge out of it. So thank you very much. And I really appreciate your time. And this will air on Saturday, which means there'll be 4 days left for people to go and see this if they wish. So thank you very much, Dr. Thoradeniya. And did we say that you work in the political science department or history department? Give me a very brief introduction, Darshi, of yourself.
Yes, I work at the Department of History at Colombo University. And thank you very much, Madhu, for inviting me for this channel, your program. And thank you so much. And I thank you on behalf of the History Department.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.